Welcome back, 5C, page 18. We were talking about in 5B one way to write an equation of the line when you had the slope and the y-intercept. And so that was y equals mx plus b, where m was the slope and b was the point where the graph cut through the y-axis. So again, this was called the slope-intercept form of a line. Well, there are actually other forms, other ways to write equations of a line that we're going to study. One of them right now has to do with the point and the slope. Because if you look at this slope-intercept form, what if we don't know what the y-intercept is? We can't write our equation of the line in slope-intercept form unless we know what that b is. But there is another way to write an equation of a line if you know any old point on the line, not just the y-intercept, but any point. So this is a little freeing sometimes, any point. There is another formula. And I'm going to kind of quickly run through how we derive it here, but we'll get down here and write the formula, and this is what you'll use mostly. So we're going to take any point on a line, x, y, and the other point for the slope in calculating the slope is 3, 2. So if I use the slope formula to calculate the slope using this point right here, this is my first point, and this is the second point, then the slope is going to equal y sub 1 minus y sub 2, which is y minus 2, over x sub 1 minus x sub 2, x minus 3. Remember, we can start with x sub 1 or y sub 1 first, but we have to be consistent in the numerator and the denominator. So this is what our slope looks like. It's pretty ugly looking because we don't have another point. We've just got x and y. If I'm going to actually solve for y, rewrite this, we're going to get rid of the denominator, x minus 3, multiply both sides by x minus 3. Those guys cancel. And now we have something that looks like m times x minus 3 equals y minus 2. So this is sort of deriving. Our point was 2, 3. You can see where the 2 and the 3 are. They end up in our equation. Usually we write our y on the left-hand side and our slope on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to kind of flip this around and go y minus 2 equals m x minus 3. So this is how we get a formula for the point-slope form of an equation once you know the slope and any old point on the graph. So the formula is this y right here minus this y right here, which came from our point. So we're going to call him y sub 1, equaling the slope right here, and this x, which comes from this point right here, minus the 3, which was our point given on the line. So this is the formula you're going to want to remember. You aren't responsible for deriving it, for coming up with it. I just ran through this pretty quickly, but this is the formula right here, where x1, y1 is the point that you know. So up here, he was the 3 and the 2. The x and the y that don't have a subscript are part of your equation of the line. Remember, when we had slope-intercept form up here, we have an x and a y that are part of our equation. So that's what this y and this x are. So we'll talk about simplifying it once you have it in this form when we do a couple examples down here. So let's run through a couple examples where they give us a point. This isn't the y-intercept. It's any old point, and they give us the slope. So we can't use y equals mx plus b, but we can use the point slope form. I will point out, once you know a few of these ways to write equations, you've got to look really carefully at what it is they're asking you to do. This says write it in point slope form. That means it needs to look like this dude up here. If it asked you to write it in some other kind of form that we're going to learn, or y-intercept form, then it would look different. So let's do our formula here. Our formula is this guy, y minus y sub 1 equals m for the slope, x minus x sub 1. This is our x sub 1, our y sub 1, and of course this is our slope. So when we go fill these in, we get y minus, and our y sub 1 is 1, equal to, we're filling in our slope, which is 2/3, and x minus, and x sub 1 is 2. So these are the three values that I wrote in green that we are plugging in to the formula that we're starting with right above it. You're plugging in your slope, you're plugging in your y sub 1 and your x sub 1. And you don't simplify it any further. It wouldn't be in point slope form if you simplified this. If you distributed and collected like terms and moved stuff all around, it would not be in point slope anymore form. So we're going to leave it like this. Let's do another one. Here's the point, here's the slope. So I am at y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. And I'm going to go fill in my three values now. So y minus y sub 1 is that guy right there. So it's y minus 5 equals -7 is the slope, and x minus a minus 3 makes that guy positive. So be real careful of your signs. When you have a negative x, this minus and that minus, turn it positive. So this is our formula in point slope form through that point with that slope. So actually, I'm just going to ask you guys to go ahead and do the remaining 4 examples, and then we'll go over our answers when we get back in class. Thanks for watching.